There comes a quiet moment in every life when you pause, look around, and hope that someone might hear the silence within you, the silence that carries your pain, your questions, your silent prayers. But you find no one there, not because people are unkind, but because each person is wandering through their own fog, carrying storms invisible to the world. At first, this truth feels heavy. You realize no one will ever fully understand the depth of your journey. But slowly, this realization softens into something liberating. Because when you stop waiting for someone else to carry your burdens, you awaken to your own strength. You become the one who holds yourself with quiet dignity. This is the essence of the Buddhist path. No blame, no silent pleading, no resentment, just a deep and powerful responsibility for your own heart. Peace does not arrive as a gift from others. It blooms when you begin to master your own mind, your own reactions, your own path. And that is the greatest freedom we can ever taste. Lesson 1. Embrace the silent truth. This journey is yours alone. There is a truth in life that cuts deeper than any blade, yet carries a liberation beyond any freedom. You walk your path alone. You may be surrounded by friends, family, and those who love you deeply. But the inner landscape of your pain and growth remains yours to navigate. No one else can feel the silent storms that rage within your chest. No one else lies awake at night with your restless thoughts. No one, not even those who adore you, can take your steps towards healing, awakening, or freedom. This journey is yours, and yours alone. Even Siddhartha, before he became the Buddha, had to leave behind every comfort he knew: his palace, his titles, his loved ones. He walked into the forest alone, sat beneath the Bodhi tree in profound stillness, and faced his suffering without waiting for someone to rescue him, motivate him, or validate his pain. He simply sat in silence, with open eyes and an unflinching heart. That silence was not punishment. It was the turning point of his life. For Buddhism teaches that suffering is born from craving what reality cannot give us. And one of our deepest cravings is the hope that someone else will fix what is broken within us. But no one can. They may care, they may stand beside you, they may whisper comforting words. But they cannot crawl into the hidden chambers of your soul and carry your pain away. This is your sacred task, your healing, your transformation, your liberation. The sooner you release the expectation that others will rescue you or fully understand your wounds, the sooner you reclaim your power. For it is in the stillness of aloneness that your truest strength is born. Every time you face your fears without running, every time you sit with your pain without numbing, you sharpen the silent sword of your spirit. You build an inner stillness that no praise, no crowd, no love from the outside can ever give. So do not see solitude as suffering, see it as sacred. Your pain does not need others' validation to be real. Your growth does not need others' applause to be meaningful. When you walk bravely into your inner world, embracing the reality that no one else can walk it for you, you uncover a deep reservoir of resilience and peace that cannot be taken away. You are alone in your battle, not because the world has abandoned you, but because this is the nature of true transformation. Aloneness is not the absence of people, it is the presence of self. And within that presence lies the first step towards enlightenment. Lesson 2. Your pain is yours to transform. Pain. It arrives uninvited in every life, wearing countless faces. Sometimes it enters as childhood wounds that echo through the years. Sometimes it comes as heartbreak, betrayal, failure, or silent battles that no one will ever witness. But while pain is a universal visitor, what you do with it is yours alone to decide. Buddhism never promises a life without pain. It does not teach us to escape it or to numb ourselves until we no longer feel. Instead, it offers us something far greater: the courage to turn towards pain with unflinching awareness, to look at it without blaming the world and without drowning in self-pity. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that suffering is not rooted in pain itself, but in our resistance to it. Each time you whisper, "Why me?" or "This shouldn't be happening," you wrap your wounds in another layer of suffering, a mental prison built from stories of unfairness and helplessness. And in that prison, healing becomes impossible. Yes, you may have been betrayed. You may have been left behind by those you trusted. You may carry scars from words spoken carelessly or love withdrawn suddenly. That pain is real. But the longer you hold on to the hope that someone else will make it right, the longer you remain bound to it. Healing begins at the moment you turn inward and say, "This pain is mine. I will sit with it. I will understand it. I will learn what it has come to teach me." In that moment, you take your first step towards freedom. Self-responsibility in Buddhism is not harshness. It is empowerment. It does not mean blaming yourself for the wounds inflicted upon you. It means realizing only you can choose how long you will carry them. Others may apologize, life may shift, but peace does not arrive until you choose to open the door to it. You can sit quietly with your pain, feeling its edges without fear. You can watch it rise and fall in your body like waves on the ocean. You can soften it with compassion, patience, and gentle mindfulness. But no one else can walk into your heart and do this work for you. Waiting for someone to fix your wounds is like waiting for the river to flow only when you command it. Life moves as it will. People act as they do. But your peace, that is your sacred task. And here lies the hidden blessing. While you may not be responsible for what broke you, you are entirely responsible for what you build from the broken pieces. When you begin to own your pain, you awaken to a truth that reshapes your life. You are not a victim trapped in life's cruelty. You are a student in life's sacred school. Every scar becomes a page of wisdom. Every wound becomes a doorway to depth. So the next time blame rises within you, pause. Breathe deeply. Sit in silent courage and whisper to your heart, "This pain is mine to transform. My peace is mine to build. I will carry this pain with mindfulness and grace until the day I no longer need to carry it at all." This is the path of healing, the path of freedom, the silent, unwavering path of the Buddha. Lesson 3. Let your results speak in silence. In this noisy world, it has become so easy to talk about our struggles, our dreams, and the battles we carry within. Words flow effortlessly when we complain about how life is unfair or how deeply we wish for change. But beneath these words often lies emptiness, because while complaining feels like action, it is merely an echo that keeps us standing still. Buddhism teaches us that true transformation does not come through words alone. It blooms in silence, watered by discipline, effort, and quiet practice. The Buddha did not awaken beneath the Bodhi tree by blaming the world for its suffering. He did not spend his days talking endlessly about life's injustices. Instead, he turned inward. He sat in stillness. He meditated, observed, and listened to the silent truths of existence. From that silence came clarity, from clarity, wisdom, and from wisdom, compassionate action. Everyone carries burdens. Life will always have moments of unfairness, heartbreak, and silent wounds no one else can see. It is natural to wish to share them, to seek understanding. But when sharing becomes constant complaining, when you repeat your pains like a chant to the world, you drain your own spirit. Sympathy might soothe for a moment, but it does not move you forward on your path. Your energy is sacred. Each breath, each thought, each intention, they are seeds of creation. Buddhism teaches us mindfulness, not only of breath, but of where we place our energy. When all your words are spent on what is wrong, you leave no space to build what is right. When you focus on excuses and complaints, you pause the unfolding of your potential. Real growth is quiet. It happens in unseen dawns when you sit in meditation before the world awakens. It happens in silent choices when you remain calm amidst provocation. It happens in those hours when you study, reflect, and train your mind alone, without praise or witness. And then, like a lotus rising slowly through dark waters, your results begin to bloom. You become calmer, you radiate quiet strength. Your focus sharpens, your presence deepens. People will sense something has shifted within you, but you will not need to explain. Your stillness will speak. Your discipline will speak. Your peace will speak louder than any words ever could. Understand this truth. Most people are too entangled in their own struggles to carry yours, not because they are unkind, but because life is heavy for everyone. Instead of hoping for rescue, show them what it looks like to rescue yourself. Instead of proving your pain, prove your resilience. Instead of shouting about how hard life is, demonstrate how steady your mind has become. Every moment spent in complaint is a moment lost for growth. Every excuse is a brick left unused in building the foundation of your awakening. So choose the Buddhist way, the way of silent mastery. Speak less, complain less, focus more, build more. Let your quiet transformation become your loudest voice. Let your unwavering peace become your greatest victory. Lesson 4. Free yourself from the trap of validation. There exists a silent suffering that slips through life unnoticed, the craving to be seen, approved of, and praised by others. Without realizing it, so many measure their worth by counting the eyes that notice them, the voices that agree with them, the hands that applaud their efforts. But Buddhism calls this what it truly is, a subtle trap binding you to endless dissatisfaction. When you place your peace in the hands of others, you hand them power over your spirit. Praise lifts you into fleeting joy. Criticism shatters you into despair. You become a trembling branch in the winds of opinion, unstable, reactive, fragile. For you have built your happiness upon something as impermanent as morning mist, the shifting thoughts of human minds. The Buddha taught that freedom lies in non-attachment. Just as we release our clinging to possessions or people, so too must we release our attachment to being admired, for what rises will surely fall. Today they celebrate you. Tomorrow they may forget you exist. Today their words lift you. Tomorrow those same lips may condemn you. If your peace depends upon their applause, then your peace will forever belong to them, not to you. Pause and reflect. How many times have you silenced your truth out of fear of rejection? How often have you shaped your words to win approval rather than to speak from the depth of what you know is right? Each of these moments is a quiet betrayal of your own soul. This is not freedom. This is bondage wearing the mask of acceptance. Buddhism invites you to awaken from this silent slavery. You do not need crowds to confirm your worth. You do not need likes or followers to prove your value. You are already complete, not because others say so, but because you exist, because you breathe, because within you lives an awareness untouched by praise or blame. That awareness, that still, silent presence within, is where your true value resides. And here is the paradox. When you finally release your need for validation, you gain something infinitely greater, self-respect. Your life becomes an authentic expression rather than a desperate performance. You walk with quiet confidence, speak with clear truth, and act with unwavering integrity. Ironically, it is when you no longer seek approval that people are most drawn to your presence, for your peace radiates louder than any words. So let go of the need to be understood. Let go of the hunger to be applauded. Speak what is true, not what is popular. Do what is right, not what is praised. Live each day quietly, mindfully, and sincerely. For the less you need from others, the more unbreakable you become. Validation is a trap. Liberation begins the moment you step beyond it and stand firmly in the truth of who you are. Lesson 5. Release the weight of expectations. Expectation. It is one of the most silent yet powerful destroyers of peace. It slips into your mind unnoticed, whispering how others should treat you, how life should unfold, how each moment should match the script you have secretly written. And while you may not realize it, each unspoken expectation binds you to silent suffering. In the Buddhist path, expectation is seen as a form of attachment, and wherever attachment lives, suffering follows close behind. You offer kindness and quietly expect it in return. You stand with loyalty and hope loyalty will stand beside you. You give love with the hidden desire that it will be mirrored back in the form you crave. And when life does not reflect your expectations, you feel betrayed, disappointed, wounded. But reality does not move according to our silent demands. People are who they are, not who we wish them to be. Life unfolds in its own mysterious dance, untouched by our imagined scripts. The more tightly you cling to how things should be, the more you suffer when they are not. The Buddha's wisdom is clear. Freedom begins the moment expectation ends. Letting go of expectation is not about lowering your standards or ceasing to care. It is about releasing the invisible chains that tie your happiness to life, moving according to your plans. When you step into life with openness instead of demands, you begin to flow with its rhythm. Disappointments no longer shake you so deeply. Compassion rises within you, for you no longer punish others for not reading your mind or fulfilling your silent hopes. Reflect for a moment. How often has your peace been stolen, not by what actually happened, but by what you expected to happen? You thought they would call, but silence arrived instead. You thought they would stand beside you, but they stepped away. You believed life would be fair, only to find unfairness waiting at your door. And in that gap between reality and expectation, suffering is born. Buddhism teaches us to let go of these illusions, to give with no demand to receive, to help without needing recognition, to love without binding that love to how it must be returned. Why? Because true peace does not arise from the world outside. It blooms within you when you no longer demand that life must follow your designs. Silencing your expectations does not mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you enter life with eyes wide open, accepting its imperfections, its changes, its unpredictability, and in that acceptance, peace returns. You stop saying they should have or it should have been, and instead whisper to yourself, "It is what it is, and I will meet it with presence, not resistance." And when you do this, life begins to reveal a hidden beauty. You suffer less. Disappointments lose their sharpness. Gratitude arises more often. You begin to see the quiet miracles in what is, instead of mourning what isn't. This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom, not to escape the world, but to free yourself from the mental chains that bind you to sorrow. So walk into each moment with awareness, not demands. Release your grip on how people should behave. Let go of how life should unfold, and watch as your peace returns to you like a silent blessing. In that stillness, you will discover a quiet power, a power that no disappointment can ever shake. Lesson 6. Find stillness in a world that never pauses. One of life's most sobering truths is this: the world does not stop for your pain. No matter how shattered your heart feels, the sun will still rise over silent cities. People will hurry to work. Traffic lights will flicker. Conversations will flow. Life moves forward, whether or not you are ready to move with it. At first, this truth feels harsh, almost cold, but within it lies a quiet invitation to freedom, because once you accept that the world will not pause for your sorrow, you stop waiting for it to care, and you begin to focus on how you will respond instead. There is a tender illusion within every human heart, the hope that when we suffer, the world will notice, that someone will step in to fix what feels broken, that life itself will pause to honor our grief. But Buddhism teaches that this very expectation deepens our wounds. For the world, in its ceaseless dance, is not cruel. It is simply absorbed in its own unfolding. The Buddha himself never expected the world to bend for his suffering. He did not beg for someone to understand his loneliness beneath the Bodhi tree. He did not wait for perfect conditions to awaken. Instead, he accepted life's nature, impermanent, unpredictable, indifferent, and in that acceptance, he found unshakable freedom. Peace arrived not because the world changed, but because he did. When you realize that the world will not halt for your grief, a gentle strength is born within you. You no longer feel like a victim of its indifference. You stop seeking rescue and begin the sacred work of rescuing yourself. You choose to heal, not to be seen or applauded, but because you deserve the quiet dignity of your own peace. This doesn't mean your pain is small or unimportant. Buddhism honors every feeling with compassion, especially your own suffering. But the teaching remains clear. You must become your own refuge, because the world outside will never be steady enough to hold your peace for you. People will leave, plans will dissolve, seasons will shift before your eyes, and if your peace depends on these ever-changing tides, you will be torn apart, again and again. So meet reality with mindfulness. Don't ask life to ease its storms. Become stronger within them. Don't beg the seasons to stay. Learn to bend and bloom with their flow. Release the illusion that your pain must be witnessed to be real. Trust that your silent courage is enough. Each morning you rise with a heavy heart. Each step you take when no one is watching matters deeply. You are walking the timeless path of the wise. Life will continue to move. Time will carry on its silent march. But the greatest freedom doesn't come from trying to slow the world down. It comes from finding stillness within yourself as everything moves around you. This is the heart of Buddhist practice, not to control life, but to master your response to it, not to expect the world to pause for your pain, but to move through life with awareness, dignity, and peace. Accept this truth with courage. The world keeps turning with or without you, and when you accept that, you begin to move with it, not with resistance, but with wisdom, balance, and a peace that nothing can take from you. Lesson 7. Turn rejection into inner strength. Rejection often arrives quietly, but it cuts deep, reaching the softest parts of who we are. Whether you're ignored, left out, dismissed, or made to feel like you're not enough, rejection stings in ways words can barely express. It leaves behind silent doubts, feelings of not being good enough, of being alone, or lost in uncertainty. But in Buddhism, rejection isn't a punishment. It's a hidden teacher, a quiet guide turning you away from illusions and pointing you toward your true path. Since childhood, we've been taught to seek approval from parents, teachers, friends, and the world around us. We long to belong, to be chosen, to hear a yes. So when life gives us a no, it can feel like our worth has been taken away. But here's a powerful truth Buddhism teaches. Rejection doesn't define your value, it simply redirects your path. What doesn't choose you isn't always a loss. Often, it's silent protection. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to release the need for constant approval from others. You weren't born to be accepted by everyone and everything. Your purpose is to follow the path that's truly meant for you. Whether others notice or not, whether there's applause or silence, if someone walks away, if a door closes, if your efforts go unseen, it doesn't mean you are worth less. It simply means life is guiding you inward, so you can learn to find your own approval first. Think of the lotus flower. It grows in muddy waters, yet remains untouched by the dirt that surrounds it. Rejection is like that mud. It may feel cold, messy and heavy, but often it's the very thing that strengthens your roots, helps you rise taller, and allows your true beauty to quietly unfold. Use rejection as fuel, not to prove others wrong, but to build something steady within yourself. Every time someone leaves, let it be a moment to return to yourself. Every time you're told you're not enough, let it deepen your focus, your effort, and your self-awareness. You don't need others to choose you, you only need to choose yourself. Even the Buddha was rejected. Not everyone understood his path. Many turned away from his message, some even laughed at him. But the Buddha remained steady, not because he was praised, but because he was grounded in presence. His path didn't need the approval of the crowd. He walked it alone, with patience and quiet strength. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to wake up. When rejection comes, the ego whispers, "They don't like me. I'm not good enough. I've failed." But Buddhism invites you to rise above this noise and ask deeper questions. What is this teaching me? How is this helping me grow? What attachment is this helping me release? In those questions, pain begins to transform into purpose. The wound becomes a well of wisdom. Let rejection soften you toward yourself. Let it clear the noise of those who didn't see your worth. Let it draw you inward to where your real peace has always been waiting. The less you need to be chosen, the stronger you become. The less you seek approval, the more fully you walk your own path. And one day, others may look at you and wonder, how did they become so calm, so strong, so rooted? They may assume your journey was easy, but you'll know the truth. It was rejection, loneliness, and silent struggle that shaped your spirit, deepened your stillness, and forged your quiet strength. So when life tells you no, don't see it as the end. See it as fuel. See it as a gentle reminder. What turns you away was never meant for you. What truly belongs to you will never close its doors. And what rejects you is not worthy of your peace. Let it go. Let it guide you inward. Let it make your stillness even stronger. Because rejection is rarely the end. It's often the beginning of your most honest and powerful path. The path where you stop waiting to be seen and finally start seeing yourself. This is the journey of a mindful warrior. This is the way of the lotus. This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom, turning every no into a deeper, stronger yes within you. Conclusion. In the end, life will test you. Through rejection, through loneliness, through unmet hopes and quiet struggles no one else sees. But in each of these moments, there is an invitation to return to yourself, to wake up and find a peace that no longer depends on praise, approval, or life going exactly as planned. This is the quiet strength of Buddhist wisdom, not to make life easier, but to steady your mind and strengthen your heart. Not to change the world around you, but to find calm inside, so you can meet each storm with grace. Remember, you are not here to be chosen by everyone. You are here to awaken. You are here to be like the lotus, blooming, untouched by the mud. You are here to walk the path of wisdom, quietly, patiently, with a strength no rejection can ever take away. If this message touched your heart today, take a deep breath and remind yourself, your peace is your responsibility. Your awakening is your purpose. If you found meaning in these teachings, like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more wisdom to support your journey inward.